disclaimer. Just a disclaimer, we're going to be recording this so we can share it out with those that were unable to be here today. But I know we've got some people that might be signing in from the group. So, hey, I'm Chief Cone from 6'2". Want to thank you for taking time out of your day to join us today and hopefully gain a little bit of knowledge. Brought one of my friends, Ray Domingo, online with us to share some tips and tricks with LinkedIn. I feel it's a platform that could potentially be useful to us now while we're still in, depending on what our roles are. But most importantly, could be extremely important to us when we go to transition out of this uniform. I've come across several people that said that they see value in LinkedIn, but they're waiting until they get closer to retiring to set one up. I think that's probably not the smartest move, but I'm gonna let Ray kind of chime in on some of that. So without further ado, go ahead and hand it over to Ray. Ray, we've made you co-host, so if you need to share your screen or anything, you're good to go.
All right, perfect. Now, first off, thank you for inviting me, Chief. Really appreciate it. It's an honor for me to be brought back and talk about my experience, or whether it's LinkedIn, how to tailor resume, interview techniques. I've actually done a couple for, I think, a couple group and also a couple squadrons. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let me see here. Share. All right, and does everybody see my screen? Okay, perfect. So basically, I like to set up a rules of engagement. Definitely feel free to take photos and share on social media. I am big on LinkedIn as far as posting and connecting and commenting and helping people, right? And what's great is my wife also shares the same passion. She's also a recruiter. She's actually with talent acquisition at Twitter. She left Amazon and then moved over to Twitter now. And like Chief was saying, as far as like LinkedIn, I highly recommend that if you are thinking about transitioning out maybe 2 years or maybe even 3 years, right? Never too early to start your LinkedIn account, start networking, building your network, and also starting connecting with people and stuff. Never too early, because I actually started late. I didn't start my LinkedIn till after I retired. I thought it was gonna be a piece of cake looking for a job. Took me 7 months. Took me 7 months to find a job after retiring. So it was really a struggle for me. And on top of that, I've been retired for almost 7 years this year. On top of that, I went and moved on to other companies as a contract role, right? I didn't know what contractor was in civilian, right? I didn't know you could go to work one day and come home unemployed the same day, right? So it actually happened to me. And so I really wanted to brand myself. And LinkedIn is an amazing platform because it's free. It's free to brand yourself. It's free to connect with folks. And I'm actually going to physically share my actual LinkedIn account later on in a few. And I'm going to show you how to do searches on how to connect with folks, certain companies, recruiters and stuff, right? And also I'm going to quickly show you how to quickly search for talent with the free LinkedIn. So I have free LinkedIn and I have paid LinkedIn. And I believe some squadrons already have like a LinkedIn recruiter, correct, Chief?
There are some out there. I think traditionally it's probably more of the OA squadrons that are doing it.
Okay, perfect. Because it's gonna be good to learn how to search for talent also on LinkedIn. So I have the opportunity to find talent in different types of platform: LinkedIn Recruiter, Career Builder, Indeed, Swordfish, Seek Out, Hire Tool. So I've used so many tools to find talent, right? So so basically, rules of engagement. Have fun. Feel free to ask questions, any questions. The tougher the question, the better. So if you could think of like a nightmare doing transition or after you retire, separate, I've probably been through it. So and it's been great because now I have the experience and opportunity to actually give back and share the knowledge I have. Let me go ahead and next slide. And I'd like to share this slide because this crept in many times, right? Thou kills more dreams than failure ever will. Because I mean, I did 20 years in the Air Force. I was a cop for 6 years, electrician for 3 years, and in the last 12 years, I was a recruiter. And I couldn't even find a job. I started applying for at the grocery store to like stock their stock the cans and stuff. I didn't get a call. I didn't get an email. And I didn't know how to write a resume. I didn't know how to interview. My resume started off as 20 pages, and I used the same resume every time I applied. And now I know you have to tailor your resume if you're applying for different jobs. You can't use the same resume. So I had to learn fast, and now I have the opportunity to pay it forward. So, and as far as the intro, quick intro about myself. I'm currently with M&T Bank. I'm a technical recruiter and sourcing strategist here at M&T Bank. I'm also right now, anything military for M&T Bank, it goes to me. People reach out to me for guidance, mentorship, what I think about certain things. So it's been going to me, right? And I'm looking at a startup. I started with M&T Bank September last year, but since then we've been moving. We've been moving super fast. We're actually approved through DoD SkillBridge website, so we're approved corporate company. We're also linked with HOH, Hiring Our Heroes. We brought in many military recruiters, and I always let people know, if I was to put a military recruiter head to head against a civilian recruiter, I would choose a military recruiter barring none, right? Because we've done it. We've done everything 24/7. We know how to do job fairs. We know how to create job fairs. We know how to lead. So we've done it all. So like I said, head to head, I definitely would pick a military recruiter, and we have 100% success rate right now. Everybody that we brought in for DoD SkillBridge and also Hiring Our Heroes, we've actually converted in full time. And I'm not going to name any names, right? We actually are about to bring in a chief from Air Force recruiting July. So he starts with us July. I'm going to let him do the announcement, but I'm so excited that he actually accepted M&T Bank to be part of us. So he's definitely excited for him to make that announcement once he starts. And from M&T Bank, I'm also the M&T Bank Military Diversity and Recruiter. Before M&T Bank, I was with Lockheed Martin for almost 2 years. I helped them build their military initiatives and programs. At the same time, I was also looking for talent global, right? I was their global talent acquisitions, and I basically focused on cyber software systems engineer when I was at Lockheed. And I was also part of their military relations team, and also a MilVet co-lead for here in San Antonio. And prior to that, it's been all contract. Prior to Lockheed Martin, it was a contract with N5 Networks. I was a contractor for Manpower Group Experience IT. I was a contractor for Boeing. I was a contractor for USAA, and I was full-time for Wyndham, right? And it was great because, I didn't really know how to reach out to folks to ask for referrals or ask for guidance or mentorship, right? But I was like, I was in need for guidance, right? So I actually reached out to, I don't know if anybody remembers Bill Malcolm. So Bill Malcolm, he's actually in Florida. So I had the opportunity to work with him when I was in Washington as a marketer and trainer. So I reached out to him. I knew he was one of the leaders at Wyndham Vacation Ownership, and I asked him if he was open to referring me. He said, absolutely, right? And I'll always let folks know is, you can get referred all day long to a company or for a position, right? But ultimately, it's on you on how you interview. That really is, as we all know, it ultimately is on you, right? But so he referred me, and I killed that interview. I was so prepared and so ready, and I got the job. So definitely grateful for Bill Malcolm. He referred me. But after Wyndham, I've been in a contract role, not by choice. There was just nothing here in San Antonio at the time for a full-time role. It was nothing. And we were at a point to where I told my wife, I'm like, we might have to relocate to another state because I can't find a full-time job here in San Antonio. But I took the opportunity that whatever came my way. But again, like I said, I always let people know is, if I could start all over again, I would do the same exact path, because it's definitely taught me a lot of experience with civilian recruiting, civilian sourcing, civilian processes. On top of M&T Bank, I'm also the co-founder for The Key, Keep Elevating Yourself. Currently, we have over 200 mentors from all across different companies, nonprofit organizations, and I think we have about 120 plus corporate companies right now, with as mentors for The Key, and we're global. So I have plans for The Key. I don't want to make any announcements yet, right? But I should be making announcements as far as what we're going to be doing with The Key. I say within this month or next month. The game plan is we're actually going to launch in-person events for numerous cities and numerous states within The Key. So since our mentors are all over the world, we're going to be able to do that. And I'm also the co-founder for Mill City Meetup, LinkedIn Mill City. We launched LinkedIn Mill City back in 2018, December. It's myself, my wife, Chuck Bunch. He's actually the military affairs director for USA. And Quincy Harper, he's also part of the military team. He's a leader for Accenture. So we launched it December 2018 because we felt that there was a need here in Milton City, USA, to get everybody together, right? And our main purpose is to give hope to folks that's transitioning, retiring, or folks that's basically having issues or a hard time transitioning in general, right? And it's all laid back in-person meetup. We actually just went back to in-person this month, May 19th. And just to go back to the key, I actually launched the key last year, Feb, and I didn't think it was gonna be as successful, right? And a lot of people was telling me, you can't, there's no way it's gonna be possible. There's no way you're gonna be able to bring all these companies, competitors together, right? And here we are. Fast forward time, we have over 200 plus mentors now. So it's been a great opportunity for me to network and also collaborate with different leaders. And of course, before Wyndham, I was in Air Force. For recruiting, I retired as a flight chief. Before that, I was trainer, marketer, and then before that, recruiter, and then electrician, and then security forces. So that's just a quick intro about myself. Agenda, I'm going to share some personal slides. It's straight up from my LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn profile. I snipped it, created it, so that way I could physically show you all on how I broke down my LinkedIn. And then after that, I'm going to go to my physical LinkedIn live, and I'll show you how to search and everything and how to message folks and stuff the right way. And I started creating articles back in 2018. As uncomfortable as it was for me, right? My wife's like, you know what, you might want to start writing articles because there's probably going to be some folks that's going to be reading it or able to read it, and it might help them out, right? So I wrote my first article, and I'm like, man, this pretty cool, right? People is interacting, sharing it, right? So I started creating different articles on how to LinkedIn tips, interview techniques, how to prepare for interview, do's and don'ts, how to reach out to certain folks. So I think I created about 10 different articles on my, it's all on my LinkedIn. So when you have the opportunity, definitely check it out. And then after I run through my LinkedIn profile, right, and live, I'll show you how LinkedIn Recruiter works, right? So that way you'll have the opportunity to gain some kind of experience on it, right? So I'm just going to show basic to LinkedIn Recruiter. And so basically what I've done is, it's always great to have an actual like civilian photo. Always great.
Courtesy.
Hey,
Somebody got a hot mic.
Perfect. Yeah, I don't want to hear anything personal still, because it's happened before. I'm like, oh man, I can't believe I forgot to put it mute. But so basically, have a professional photo, right? Have a professional photo. If you plan on transitioning maybe a year and a half out, make sure you have a civilian photo. Make sure you have a civilian photo, right? Another thing, make sure you smile. Make sure you smile, right? Because hiring managers actually look at people's LinkedIn to see how they interact with people, see how they are active, how they present themselves, right? And I always make fun of myself because that's gonna be my best smile. You're not gonna find anything better than that. So that's it. I'm gonna stick to it. And have a background, right? Have a background on what you're passionate about. Some cyber folks, they have like cyber stuff in the background. In my background is the Key, which is the company that I launched back in last year. So that's what I have right here. And then have something creative as far as your headline. And my headline is M&T Bank Vice President, Technical Sourcing Strategy, Military Affairs Program Manager, because that's exactly what I do at M&T Bank, right? And then I'm co-founder for the Key and co-founder for LinkedIn City, because that's something I'm passionate about, and that's what I do on the side. And on top of that, military engagement leader. I do a lot of presentations, workshops, and also like panels for different organizations like Indeed. I've been on a lot of presentations and workshops and panels for Hiring Our Heroes, USO, actually USA also. I went there for a panel. So I try to keep track of everything I do. It's tough, so I basically try to post everything so that way I don't forget, right? So I try to keep track of everything I do by just posting it. And another thing is, when the time comes, I say about 8 months out to where you're separating or about to retire, you click on this button right here, open to, and it's basically going to show like recruiters, hiring managers, HR, or folks in general, right, that's looking for talent, that you are open to looking. And I'll show you and I'll let you know why once I go to LinkedIn Recruiter, because those are those are the folks that are those are the folks that we're pretty much going to reach out to first, the ones that's open to, right? And then when you click on open to, you actually could type in certain things that you want, you know, whether it's a director for talent acquisitions, manager for talent acquisitions, right? So you can actually type that in, and I'll let you know when I get to LinkedIn Recruiter, the reason why that's important, right? And then, so the next thing, about. So about, and I try to tweak it, right? So I try to start thinking outside the box, right? How do I put myself above, not above, but, you know, on top of, you know, other candidates, right? To where my resume, my profile sticks out, right? So I did it. I broke it down. So about, guess what? If somebody's looking for a talent acquisition professional, whether it's leadership, whether it's a role, right? So they physically see that I have 18 years of talent acquisition experience, 10 plus years of talent development experience, 9 years managerial experience. So I broke it down to the T. So there is no doubt in their mind that I qualify, right? Another thing I did was technical sourcing, recruiting experience. These are all the technical roles that I've had the opportunity to recruit for or source for, to where I basically talent hunt. So if they're looking for a specific niche experience, they're going to see it. They see it, right? And all this right here is also on my resume. It's also on my resume. And I recommend putting this portion right here, the 18 plus years or whatever, right, at the very top of your resume. And the way to do it is when you're looking at job description, and I always let folks know this, the job description is almost like a cheat sheet, because it'll let you know exactly what companies are looking for, what type of candidates, right? And then within that job description, check out the basic requirements or minimum requirements. Those are the must-haves. Those are the must-haves. So for example, if the job description or the basic requirement says must have 10 years of talent acquisition experience, guess what? I meet it. Must have 5 years of talent development experience. Guess what? I have it. So that's how I broke it down. I put it at the very top, all the basic qualifications, the minimum requirements, right? So that way it's a lot easier for recruiters or hiring managers to see that I fully qualify for that role. The easier, the better, right? Because you're going to receive a lot of guidance also. If you were to share your resume or show people your LinkedIn, let's say you show 10 people your resume on LinkedIn, right? You're probably going to get 10 different guidance on how to change it, how to fix it and stuff. I always let people know is, you know, there's going to be a lot of guidance that you be given, right? But it's going to be up to you to pick and choose what works best for you, because the stuff I share might not work for you, but it may work for others, right? So another thing below here, ATS, I had no clue what the heck ATS was when I first retired, right? I didn't even know what the heck requisition was when I first retired. You know, when I finally landed my first interviews, my first initial interviews, they were asking me, so what rec load did you have in the Air Force? I'm like, what the heck is a rec load? I had no clue what the heck a rec load was, right? So rec load is, each rec is a job posting. It's a job position. That's what a rec is. So I started learning how to answer that, right? Because in Air Force recruiting, we really didn't have a rec load, but we had specific goals, right? So I started talking about, like, we physically had to fill 3 to 4 niche roles, whether it's, you know, special forces, computer programmers, right? So I started explaining it that way. They're like, ooh, I get what you're saying. So we're pretty much like a sourcer, right? And I didn't know what a sorcerer was. I didn't know what the difference between sorcerer and recruiter was. In my mind, when I first retired, when I heard sorcerer, I'm like, man, that's like wizard or something, right? You're looking for a wizard, right? So I had no clue. So I had to learn fast. But now I have the experience to be a sorcerer. I have the experience as far as a full life cycle recruiter. I've done staffing for an agency. I've done it. You name it. I've probably done it in civilian already, right? And I like to put the disclaimer, right? All original content and posts shared on my profile are my own opinion. So that way nothing goes back to the company that I'm working for. I'm letting people know that this is my personal experience and whatever I share is from me, right? And I also put the sourcing tools and techniques that I've used. I know how to Boolean search. I actually do recruiting workshops also. I do Boolean search. I know how to use LinkedIn Recruiter, Hire Tool, Recruiter Edge, Dice, Indeed, Monster, Clear Job, Seek Out. So those are the tools that I've had the opportunity to use. And with your experience, make sure you break down, and I actually got it down in my previous, my next slides, right? break down your military experience, because what I've seen from military veterans, their resume or their LinkedIn profile, sometimes it would show like 20 years in the Air Force, and then it would have like bullets underneath it, right? So as a civilian that has no clue about military, they're like, man, this guy has been in the same role, same job for 20 years and never progressed. What the heck is wrong with him, right? So make sure you show progression, right? And I'll show you my stuff also later, how we broke it down. So I basically broke down, my current role with M&T Bank, the current companies that I created, which is the Key and also LinkedIn City, and then below that, before M&T Bank was Lockheed, F5 Network. So I broke it down. And another thing also, the great thing about it is you can actually put photos also for each role or each company that you work for. In your case, with Air Force, you can actually put like, photos within the job or role that you're currently doing or in the past, right? What's great about LinkedIn also is I'll show it, I'll show you later as far as to navigate through LinkedIn when I show my LinkedIn profile live. You actually have the opportunity to feature certain things too on LinkedIn. So in my case, my wife and I got selected for We Are Mighty 25 last year. So they selected 25 military passionate folks within, globally. So we got selected. So it's definitely an honor. So definitely wanted to feature that. So I featured that. When I was part of panel, Indeed, I featured that. And you could always change it. You could change anything on LinkedIn daily. When I was searching for a job or when I was transitioning into a new role, my LinkedIn profile continuously changed, right? And to full transparency, right? When I retired, after I retired, I'm like, I don't want nothing to do with being a recruiter. I don't want nothing to do with that, right? And here I am, almost 7 years later, I'm still a recruiter, and my wife's a recruiter now too. So, absolutely love it. Absolutely love being in talent acquisition in civilian world. Completely different, and I'm telling you right now, and I always let folks know this. As far as military recruiters, everything that you've done in military recruiting, it's going to be beneficial in the civilian world, whether it's a individual contributor role, whether it's a leadership role, it's going to help out big time, because a lot of stuff that we do, they don't do it in civilian world. They don't do it. And I always let folks know, whatever we did in recruiting, you're probably doing like 4 to 5 civilian people's jobs. You're doing it all. You're doing everything. And it's funny because when I started going to a job fair, I can't remember, I think it was when Wyndham, my first job as a civilian, right? A lot of recruiters had no clue how to do a job fairs, no clue. So I had to do like a presentations on how to do a job fair, how to break it down, how to act, how, what I'm saying? So, I mean, it definitely helped out as far as my overall experience in the Air Force. So I'll show you in a few on how to move things, within your LinkedIn account and how to navigate and everything too. Here's the breakdown that I was talking about, break down your military career, right? Another thing is, if I was to put flight chief, as my last job in the Air Force, a lot of civilian recruiters, a lot of civilian hiring managers, they will have no clue what a flight chief is. They might think you're a pilot or something, flight chief, right? So try to level set on what the title is in civilian. Try to level set with whatever job or title is in civilian, right? Same with like, when I was a cop, there's no way if I was, trying to be a cop in civilian or something in general, right? As far as like law enforcement or anything security, if I was to put security forces, they would have no clue what security forces is also. So I basically changed it to law enforcement. So in my case, I put law enforcement manager, engineering manager, because I was an electrician and I had my own team, lead recruiter, because by the time I left, on the bag, I was like the senior recruiter, right? I was the senior recruiter and everybody else really PCS or whatever, right? And then after that, I tried to figure out what would be relatable in civilian as far as a trainer and marketer. So I changed it up, talent acquisition program manager, because I was a trainer, I was a marketer, and I broke it down. And then I try to relate on what I could put as far as civilian title, as far as flight chief, right? Again, by the time I retired, all the other flight chiefs in my flight were probably gone already, because they probably went on to tier their next tier, or they retired, or they separated, right? So talent acquisition senior manager. But as you can see, I basically changed it to where it showed progression. I always let folks know also is, even though you're holding the same rank, right? Let's say whatever your rank is right now, you PCS, and then you PCS again, and you're the same exact rank. I always let folks know every time you PCS, it's a promotion. It's a promotion because most likely you're moving on to another role or another, another city, another state, but your role is probably going to be more in depth, right? You're probably going to have more responsibility. So it's really a promotion, right? And that's the best way to explain it. After this role here, I actually got promoted and moved on to this next role. So that's how best to basically explain your experience. Education, put down your education, licenses, certification. In my case, I went through PSS, right? So I put PSS down. I'll show you later on when I show my LinkedIn Live. So I'll put PSS, I put what is it, PSC, anything that I received from the Air Force as far as being certified, I put it down on there. These top three is actually through college, going through my MBA. I actually got these certifications through college classes. So I actually got certification. I had to take a test and got certified. So I added on there. Skills, it's important to put skills, and I'll show you why when I go to LinkedIn Recruiter account, and I'll show you like the funnel technique, right? So in my case, I put recruiting, HR, strategy. So you could put like certain things that you would feel that you have the skills for or trait. Put it down here, and then what's going to happen is, let's say myself, I go here and then we endorse. We basically just go. We would endorse you, and that's why you see like 99 plus endorse me for recruiting, 99 plus endorse me for HR, same with strategy. So you basically you would get endorsed and everything. Recommendations, I'm horrible, right? About asking for recommendations. I've done so much, but I'm still this day, I still struggle asking, right? Asking for help, asking for anything, right? So Chief Hamilton, he hooked me up. He actually gave me a recommendation, right? I think he's like the only one. And like I said, I'm horrible about asking for recommendation. People always like let me know, hey, it was amazing. Thank you so much for your time, for giving presentation or whatever, right? The fastest and easiest way to get recommendation, type up something, send it back to somebody, and then let them know and ask them, hey, are you open to giving me a recommendation? Please make any edits that you need or want, or deletion, right? And that's the fastest way to get recommendation, is build it, send it to them, and ask if they're open to giving recommendation. Interest, make sure you follow like certain people, make sure you follow certain companies. If you have a targeted company, make sure you follow that company. If you're very interested, I'm not going to name company, right? If you're very interested in company A and you apply for it and you're interviewing for it, most likely they're going to check your LinkedIn and see what your interests are, what you do, how active you are, your profile, if it matches with your resume, right? And if you say like, your dream company is to work for company A, and then they go on your LinkedIn and they don't even see you following the company, they're like, wait, they're saying that their dream company is this company. They're not even following the company, right? But they're following all this other companies. So definitely just follow certain companies. I recommend targeting like three companies, right? And then follow them. And in a few, I'll go on my LinkedIn Live and I'll show you how to search for certain recruiters and everything, and who to connect and everything, right? And it's completely different. LinkedIn is completely different than Facebook, right? Facebook, you get a connection request, you're like, who is this creepo, right? I'm not connecting with him, right? Pass, right? I'm not, there's no way I'm connecting with this person, right? LinkedIn is so different. If somebody sends you a connection request, there's a reason why they're sending you a connection request. One of the reasons is probably because they're building their profile, or they're building their network and their connection. Second reason, they're probably reaching out to you because they may have a job opportunity. Third reason, they're probably reaching out to you because they want to ask you a question or ask for guidance, right? Fourth reason, it's almost like the first reason, they're building the network, right? So start building your network now. And after I retired, LinkedIn was so uncomfortable. I was looking at LinkedIn posts and I see like these LinkedIn police. I'm like, man, what's up with these people, right? They're like, this isn't Facebook. Stop posting this. This is LinkedIn. I'm like, I'm not posting anything. I'm not posting anything at all, right? Because I don't want to get hit up by LinkedIn wannabe police, right? But my wife was like, you need to start sharing what you're going through because there's people behind you that's probably going through the same exact thing. I'm like, you know what? Let me see how it goes. Let me see if I get hit up by a LinkedIn police, right? So I started posting certain things while I'm going through the interview process, what I've learned and everything, right? And then I started gaining traction. People started letting me know, hey, I really appreciate you posting this. It really helps me out. So I started posting more and more. And now I have like almost 34,000 followers, right? From the stuff I share, the stuff I do. So it's been a great opportunity for me to share my experience and everything, right? Because like I said, the main thing is I really want to try my best to help out folks behind me. And each year we have over 200,000 military veterans transitioning, whether they're retiring, separating, or medical board, right? And the guidance I'm trying to give is all from personal experience, all from personal experience that I've gone through or overcome, right? And that's my main thing is the main thing is definitely to try to give hope because, like I said, that one slide I shared, doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. That definitely hit me multiple times, during my transition from the Air Force. Let me see here. Professional branding, brand yourself, post certain things that you enjoy, post certain things that you're passionate about, post certain things that you think that would benefit from, others, whether they're already retired, separated, or about to, right? Basically just share certain things also and tag folks. And if you don't know how to tag, I'll show you how to tag because, when I started on LinkedIn, I really didn't know how to tag. I really didn't know how to hashtag. It was all messed up, right? So now I could tell if somebody's new to LinkedIn because they're tagging or hashtagging incorrectly, or their post is like all over the place. And that was me. That was definitely me, right? So, but I learned fast, and I definitely started teaching or showing people how to do certain things too. So definitely brand yourself. And like I said, LinkedIn is a great platform because it's free for us to brand ourselves. Again, some stuff I posted. So my personal LinkedIn, right? So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go on my personal LinkedIn. I'm gonna physically show certain things. Let me go here. Let me get in here. And first off, does everybody still see my screen? Okay, perfect. So this is my personal LinkedIn, and my background, the key mentor group. Like I showed you earlier, as far as my profile at the top. And here's the button I was letting everybody know about. So when you click on here, it says finding a new job, providing services, or hiring. So if you're open to new opportunities or looking for a new job, you would actually click on this, finding a new job. If you're hiring, you can actually click on this, but let me click on this, finding a new job. So when I was looking, I basically put on-site, hybrid. So it's got to change now because I've been hybrid for like the past almost 3 years now. So I haven't messed around with this for a while. So if I was looking, it'd only be for remote because I don't want to go back on site. I don't want nothing to do with hybrid. I want to stay remote, right? And when I was looking, I also put San Antonio, and I was looking for full time only. So you could definitely change certain things and everything here. So um, let me see here. I don't want to add it to my profile because I'm not currently looking, but that basically shows you how to create the open to new opportunities. And then later on, when I go to my LinkedIn recruiter account, I'll show you why it's important to do this portion, because these folks that are clicking open to new opportunities are the very first one that we're going to reach out to. Let me scroll down. And here's the thing that I was talking about earlier, as far as feature, you can actually order the reorganize. So if you click on the pencil button, you can actually move these around as far as the order that you want. So loading. All right, so let me and all you gotta do is just slide it forward, slide it up. There you go, and that's how you do it. And that's how you basically move around your feature stuff right there. Perfect. So it's good. Let me go ahead and go back. All right, let me see. Let me go back to my profile. Let me scroll down, and then these are like the activity will actually show you like you know, if you were to check out somebody's profile, you can actually see their activity. You can see what they're looking at, what they're commenting on, what they're sharing and stuff, right? So in this case, this is how you do it. So basically show all activity. This is mine, so it shows you all the stuff I've done. If I commented on somebody, if I respond to somebody or share somebody's post or share my personal post, this is how you see all activities. And in articles, whenever you're checking somebody's articles, you just go here, articles, and you'll see all the articles I've written. So these are all the articles I've written on LinkedIn, and everybody has the opportunity to share any articles too. You can actually write your own article and it's for free. And post, these are my personal post on my LinkedIn account. Document, I didn't post any document. Some people, they post their resume as far as document, right? So it's definitely ultimately on you and what you want to share on your LinkedIn account. Let me go back to my profile. And here's the breakdown that I was showing you earlier as far as my about and the experience, education. And then here's the thing that I was talking about as far as licenses and certification. As you can see, I put everything down. I put everything down, you know, whatever that I felt that would actually benefit myself and also help me out to be a better candidate, right? I basically put, you know, AFRS, which is a ATS, you know, right? So I put AFRS, AFRS TF, TF, and then leadership, Airman Leadership School, graduated from it, certified recruiting marketer, certified recruiting sales trainer, NCO Academy, went through that also, senior recruiter, because we got certified as a senior recruiter. So I broke it down to the T. So when people look at my profile and they're looking for, you know, whether it's a leadership role or interview recruiter, they'll see all this, you know, because a lot of civilian recruiters, they don't go through training, they don't get certified, they don't go through school, you know, so they don't go through the same stuff we do. And I always let people know, um, Air Force recruiting school is one of the toughest school to go through in the Air Force. And I let them, and I explained to them what we had to do. They're like, oh my gosh, you had to do all that? I'm like, yeah. I mean, we had to go through school. We had to graduate. If you don't graduate, you either get kicked out or you go back to the previous job that you were trying to leave to go to recruiting, right? So I break it down to the T. And so that's basically a quick breakdown on my LinkedIn. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down LinkedIn Recruiter. Let me see here. But before I move forward, Ro, I definitely want to ask if anybody has any questions at all. All right, perfect. No questions at all? Okay, sounds good. And if there's any questions at all, definitely feel free to ask. Stop me, ask, right? And like I said, the harder the question, the better. So I'm gonna go to LinkedIn Recruiter. And LinkedIn Recruiter depends on the package that you do, right? Typically, it costs like $10,000 per account per year. So I'm gonna show like the funnel, right? On how to source. This is me sourcing. You could do Boolean search, where you use and or not, and everything, right? But nowadays, all these tools, you really don't have to do Boolean search, but it's good to know it. So YouTube it, how to Boolean search, and so that we can actually talk about it, right? So let's start with recruiter, right? I'm gonna put recruiter. Let's say we're looking for a recruiter, and then it's gonna have like millions. It's gonna pop up millions of people. And then so what we're gonna do is we're gonna funnel. And then that's why it's important to show like certain skills on your LinkedIn, because there's certain keywords that we're looking for. And if there's certain keywords that we're looking for, like a niche type of recruiter or niche type of experienced candidate, and if you don't have that skills or trait or whatever on your LinkedIn, then we're probably not going to find you. You know, they're not going to find you at all. So there's 2.1 million results, right? There's no way we're going to reach out to 2.1 million. people, right? There's no way. I don't have time to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to put current job title, and let's just say talent acquisition. And another thing is there's so many names for recruiters, right? I thought recruiter was it. You know, another name for recruiter is talent acquisition. Another name for recruiter is also sourcer. Sourcer and recruiter, it's almost the same, but it's different. Recruiters tend to do full life cycle from start to finish. Sourcers, they typically just talent hunt. They find talent. And once they find talent, they pass it over to the recruiter. They pass it over to the recruiter. Um, so let's just say talent acquisition manager. Let's see if it slims down. Sorry, my internet's so slow. Dial up. Just kidding. No, I have Wi-Fi. So now it brings down to 24,000. So brings that for 24,000 now. Now let's say you're looking for a specific location. Let's just go. Let's just say San Antonio. We'll go San Antonio. So it's so much easier. These tools are so much easier to where you just plug and play instead of like doing some crazy Boolean search strings. So now there's 57 results. That's the pool that I want to reach out to. 57 instead of like 2 million people, right? But again, you could play around with certain things. You know, there's workplace type, skills and assessment. So this is where your LinkedIn profile come to play as far as the skills and trait I was talking about, how people would go in there and endorse you. So this is where we use it. So let's just say, for example, I don't know, let's just say Java, or just say Microsoft Office. So now it went down to 17. It went down 17 because there might be a role that, you know, the candidate has to have experience with Microsoft Office, just example, right? Or Microsoft Excel or whatever, right? So that's where we search for skills, for certain talent. Companies, if you're targeting like certain companies, let's just say Air Force. Let's go with Air Force. Air Force. Now let's say we're looking for a military recruiter that is experienced. So we're putting current and past. Let's see, United States Air Force. And again, this is specifically for San Antonio only. So for San Antonio only, with talent acquisition manager currently with Microsoft Office experience that has Air Force background, we found 3. So we found 3. So that's how it works. And I'm pretty sure some of you probably know her. So I know her husband. He actually used to be my recruiter when I was a flight chief. So, and she popped up. So she did it right. She did her profile right. So she went in our radar. So that's pretty much how you do it. And now let's say you're looking for a candidate with let's just say certain college or whatever, right? Or even like a bachelor's degree. You can actually type in bachelor's degree or master's degree here, right? So that's pretty much how you break down LinkedIn Recruiter. Pretty simple. And it's crazy is once you learn one sourcing tool, you should be able to utilize other sourcing tools like Seek Out, Hire Tool, Indeed, Career Builder, right? You should be able to use it. The difference between other sourcing tools, it was awesome because they actually invited me. I was part of the panel when they launched Indeed for military. So their sourcing tool is pretty awesome actually, right? Because they have an option to where you click military veterans and then they don't get credit. They don't get credit taken away for certain candidates, right? Because there's a limit. You probably like use the tool like 1,000 candidates per month, right? But Indeed has the option to where it won't count against you if you're looking for military talent. So that's the difference between Indeed versus the other sourcing tools. Anybody have any questions as far as like LinkedIn Recruiter? Okay, perfect, perfect. Let me see here. Let me go back to my original profile. Here. Let's see. It's gonna be tough because we're virtual, but I definitely want to ask: Does every does anybody on here right now that do not have LinkedIn at all, like LinkedIn profile created or started? Okay, so I see one because it's on video, so there's one person, right? Um, and Sergeant Total, when do you separate or retire?
Not for a while.
Okay.
I've got at least another 7.5 years before I retire.
Okay, perfect, perfect. But it's also a great tool for you to mentor others too. So it's another great tool for you to mentor others that's transitioning before you. Um, but another thing also, you can actually search talent with your regular LinkedIn profile too. So here's how I do it, right? So I think I was gonna show you how to search certain recruiters or whatever, right, and connect with them. So in this case, you could just put, I don't know, let's just say M&T Bank, M&T Bank recruiter. So go to search, and all these folks from M&T Bank that are recruiters will pop up. So if you have a targeted company, like I said, have about 2 to 3, start connecting with them. Start connecting with them, so that way you build your network, because it'll pop up. I mean, it shows you who all these recruiters are, and they're all current recruiters for M&T Bank. So connect away, right? Another thing is, if you're looking for talent, um, even for the Air Force, you can actually look for talent for the Air Force also with your regular LinkedIn. Let's just say, for example, I'm looking for a software engineer. So software engineer is going to pop up, and there's 11 million, right? 11 million, and I'm not reaching out to 11 million. So what you need to do is, I started getting creative on how to search talent that are looking, right? So I put looking. So you just got to play around with like certain keywords. So in this case, it went down from 11,000 or 11 million to 293,000 results. And then you can actually change it up to, if they're your first connection, second connection, a third connection, you can actually change this option here. Or if you're physically looking for like certain location, let's say you guys are looking for talent, right? You can actually look for certain locations also. Current company, right? So now let's say, I don't know, let's just say San Antonio. San Antonio. Let's go San Antonio. And let's see. And let's just say looking. Anybody looking in San Antonio. Let's see how many people looking in San Antonio. 20,000. 20,000 people in San Antonio. 20,000 plus in San Antonio is currently looking, right? And then you can play with the filters. You can play with filters. You can put like bachelor's degree, master's degree, or certain things that you're looking for. And that's how you find talent. And again, this is my free LinkedIn account. I didn't have to go my LinkedIn recruiter account. I'm just using my personal LinkedIn account, so you can actually find talent. And if you're trying to look for like certain like leaders, I don't know, just example, from a high school or college or organization, right? You can utilize LinkedIn too and connect with them. Does anybody have any like keywords that you want me to enter, or anybody looking to search for anything? I love playing around. I love, talent hunting. I played around with certain keywords, certain Boolean search words and stuff. So I'm pretty familiar on how to search for free or paid too. So
I think one of the greatest needs right now is maintenance or maintainers
okay,
in the Air Force.
let's just say maintenance, aircraft maintenance.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's see, aircraft maintenance. And that's great about LinkedIn is you can also see how experienced they are, to where they might not be a fit because of age, right? Or you might see they're perfect. They're of age, right? So you can see. So I mean, look at that. There's aircraft maintenance looking, and I actually put it in San Antonio only. So there's 146 people looking. So they're all there. And you can see if they're experienced or not by just clicking on a profile. Let's check out Andrew Foote. So he's a line maintenance mechanic. He is looking. He lives in San Antonio. He has experience with SkyWest, PDS. So he's got some great experience, actually, professional experience. And he graduated. Looks like he graduated with associate's degree 2013. So I think he would be a possible target candidate. And then, like I said, you can actually play around and change out the city too. And Sergeant Toto, what location?
I'm in Temecula, California,
Okay,
sir.
man, that's a tough one to spell. Can you spell that?
Yeah, it's Tango Echo Mike Echo Charlie Uniform
Got it.
Lima
Right.
Alpha.
Perfect. Yeah, the first time I heard about Temecula, California was from Chief Hamilton when he was there. So I'm like, where the heck is it? I had to like GPS it. So in this case, there's 7. I'm not saying they're all qualified, but there's 7 looking. So there you go. That's how you do it right there. As far as searching with your free LinkedIn to where you don't have to pay anything. Let me see. Let me go back to my profile. There's so many tricks that I could share with LinkedIn, right? Even on your phone. On your phone, they used to have, especially now we're going back to in person, right? Especially, I'm hoping they bring it back because before COVID, they had this option to where you would click on your LinkedIn profile on your phone and you click to where you find nearby, and everybody would go find nearby, and then we would all pop up. And you could actually connect with everybody within that event. That's perfect for like job fairs or anything, right? Connecting with like counselors or teachers or even potential candidates, right? They took it off since COVID, but I'm hoping they bring it back, right? But now there's another option to where you could actually go on your LinkedIn on your phone, and then you basically click on the very bottom. There's like a person icon with a plus. You click on that, and then it'll say QR code. When you click on QR code, you either have to show your QR code and the other person has to scan it, or vice versa, right? Because a lot of times nowadays, a lot of companies, they don't carry business cards. Like us, we don't have business cards. We connect with folks on LinkedIn, or we just share our email address. But that's the quickest and fastest way to connect with somebody professionally, is using that QR code. And then when they bring it back, as far as the find nearby, you'll have that option again, doing like events, right? Doing events. But I know Sergeant Turtle, you said you're still about 6-7 years out. I still I still recommend building a LinkedIn profile and just slowly like posting, or once in a while getting on and just basically engaging with folks, right? Always let folks know it's never too early to start transitioning, or never too early start networking, right? Another great thing about LinkedIn also is, you never know, you might connect with somebody that's, that has a kid or a family member or a family friend that's looking to join the Air Force. Also, I still get reach outs till this day about the Air Force, and I'm like, hey, and I always send it to Chief Hamilton. Hey, Chief Hamilton. Hey, Chief, check this out, right? This person wants to join. Till this day, I still have a lot of family members joining the Air Force, and a lot of friends that's looking to help out their kids or family member or family friends. So I basically just reach out to Chief Hamilton and just send him his way. But yeah, I mean, hopefully this has been extremely hopefully this was a helpful. Let me see here. So before I continue, I definitely want to ask again if anybody has any questions about LinkedIn, anything, interview technique, resume. But the main thing is, whatever you have in your resume, try to match it with your LinkedIn. So that way, when a recruiter, HR, or hiring manager looks at your profile and also your resume, it matches up. It matches up to where they're like, okay, you know what, they're legit, right? Because we have seen folks share their resume, and then we look at the resume, we look at their LinkedIn, it's like night and day. It's like night and day. It's like, how are they trying to apply for this job? I seen their resume, they're qualified. And then I look at their LinkedIn, they have no experience with what they're trying to interview for or apply for, right? So try to match it. But I'm pretty sure your LinkedIn is going to progress, is going to expand, it's going to change. And like I said, mine changes constantly. I update my LinkedIn constantly, right? And I make edits, tweaks to it to basically to show what I'm currently doing, or to show that as far as what I do and what my experience are, my experience is. So that's why I just basically try to show everything that I do on LinkedIn. And like I said, it's basically a great opportunity for you to brand yourself, and it's for free. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much a quick breakdown on my LinkedIn, personal LinkedIn, also LinkedIn Recruiter. I know for folks that don't have LinkedIn yet, it's a lot of information, right? And like I said, I had to play around with it. But I do want to share one more thing, sorry, as far as how to tag. So when you tag somebody, when you create a post, and like I said, there's two things: there's hashtag and there's tag, right? So as long as you know the difference and as long as you know how to hashtag, you're good. As long as you know how to tag, you're good, right? So in my case, let's just say, for example, I'm like just type in something, and then you enter, and then you would click on the @ right? And then let's say click on this, and you actually have to click on their name, so that way it pops up like that. And then you can actually just backspace, and you can just leave their first name. So in this case, let's just say, I don't know who that is, but there you go. So that's how you tag. That's how you tag, right? So you can also tell if somebody's brand new to LinkedIn or they're pretty experienced, right? If you could tell if they're brand new to LinkedIn, because they would tag, and they would tag that way, because see, it's leaving the @ So that's how you could tell if somebody's new to LinkedIn. So make sure when you're tagging somebody, physically click on their name, and then you can actually backspace and put their name. So that's how you tag. And the difference between tagging people on your post compared to tagging somebody on your comment, when you tag somebody in your post, now let's say I'm tagging Chief Cone, right, on my actual post, which I'm gonna do for this event, right? I'm gonna tag it. I'm gonna post it on LinkedIn. I'm gonna check out the names, and I'm gonna tag certain folks that do have LinkedIn, right? The reason why I tag folks in my actual post, so every time somebody engages on my post, whether they like, they react to it, or they comment, every time somebody reacts or comments on my post, when I tag somebody in my actual post, they're gonna get notified every single time. You're gonna get a notification, right? So their notification is probably gonna light up like a Christmas tree, because every single time somebody reacts or comments, is gonna notify them, right? But another route that you want to do, or that you may want to do, is tag them in the comment area. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm gonna go to one of my posts. Let me see, profile. All right, it's moving extra slow. I'm gonna go back to here then. Let's just say Dustin. We'll go with Dustin. We actually brought him on. He's also ex Air Force recruiter. He's actually with M&T Bank now. He's full time. So in this case, when you wanna tag folks in the comment section, what's gonna happen is when you do the initial tag, they'll get notified, right? But when somebody reacts or comments on that post, that person that you tag on the comment, they're not gonna get notified, because you're tagging on the comment. But now if somebody reacts or comments on that comment that you tag somebody on, that's when they get notified. So for example, let's just say, let me just, so let's just say I'm tagging Dustin. I know it's Dustin, but let's say a random Dustin, right? Let's say I tag them on the actual post. What's going to happen next is As a matter of fact, here goes. Let me tag Sonia. Boom. So by me tagging Sonia to this post, to Dustin's post, Sonia's gonna get notified, saying stating that I tagged her in this post, right? But when somebody reacts to this, like right now, I'm gonna react. Sonia's not gonna get notified because she was never tagged in the actual post. The only time Sonia's gonna get notified now is if somebody clicks the like and reacts to it, or if they reply to this comment. That's when she get notified again. That's why I highly recommend tagging folks that are active on LinkedIn to build your network in the actual post. So hopefully that makes sense as far as tagging and hashtagging, because like I said, I had no clue how to tag and hashtag. And then another thing is hashtags. Hashtags is almost like a bookmarker, right? And let's go to like right here. This company tagged National Mimosa Day, right? So if you click on this, in my case, I usually hashtag military veteran, Air Force, and all the branch, right? So that, let's say you click on this, you'll see everybody. Well, there's really not that much. You'll see people that that utilize the same hashtag, right? Mimosa Day. The thing is with hashtag, you'll see the difference too. When you hashtag veteran and veterans, there's a big difference. So let's hashtag veteran. It shows you how many followers. So there's 46,180 followers with this hashtag, right? So now let's say veterans. Hashtag. Let's see here. There's 113,000 following veterans. So really, this hashtag is actually better used than without the S. Or you can just use, you can hashtag both, veteran or veterans. But that's a good amount of followers for this certain hashtag, right? So like I said, I typically hashtag veteran, veterans, military veteran, military spouse, mil vet, and all the different branch, right? So that way it gains traction. In this case, you'll see certain folks that's hashtagging veterans. I personally know Anthony Gilbert. We used to work at Lockheed. So there you go. So that's how you see people hashtagging certain things. I wonder, I don't know. I don't know, but let me see. I'm just trying to be creative. Okay. I'm not sure if it's anything's going to pop up. You're looking to join Air Force. And this is how I like play around with like certain things, right? So in this case, there isn't a hashtag creating for looking to join the Air Force. But basically just be creative on your searching. And like I said, LinkedIn, your regular LinkedIn is a great tool to find talent also for the Air Force, because there's a lot of layoffs going on right now. Within different organizations, they're probably looking for new opportunities. But yeah, definitely utilize it and search talent or build your network. Let me see. I think that's a quick breakdown on personal LinkedIn and also LinkedIn Recruiter. The main thing also is don't hesitate to reach out. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions at all. Do not hesitate to reach out. And typically once a month, we try to do one key mentor group virtual event per month. So anybody could join our virtual platform. And we typically have about 20 to 30 companies join us. And what we do is USO Pathfinder program. They asked me if they could host any of my virtual events. I'm like, absolutely, yeah, it's free for me. So we use their platform. So we actually break out in breakout rooms, so you'll have the opportunity and flexibility to actually join whichever room you want to go to. You could join one room and then 5 minutes later you could jump and go into another room and talk to other companies, right? So we typically do that once a month. And then once we launch a new initiative, it's going to be in person too for the key mentor group for different cities and different states. But yeah, other than that, that's a quick breakdown as far as LinkedIn, quick breakdown as LinkedIn Recruiter. And like I said, there's going to be a lot of folks that probably don't have LinkedIn yet. It's probably a lot of information, and I apologize. I try to break it down as simple as possible, right? But hopefully it helped, some folks. And what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna do I'm gonna take a quick photo, right? And I'm gonna post this on LinkedIn. So there it goes. So I know there's only 3 of us on camera, and that's fine. So, all right, 1, 2, 3. Okay, got it. So perfect. Yeah, I mean, before I jump off, does anybody have any questions as far as LinkedIn Recruiter, how to build certain things, how to edit certain things, how to reach out to folks? Any questions at all?
Hey, Ray, I don't have a question
Yeah.
per se, but you said something earlier that really kind of resonated with how I've seen this platform, or at least how I've visualized using it as an Air Force recruiter. And it was connecting with our influencers and our educators.
Yes.
It was highlighted so much more back when I was in Nashville as a pro soup, as we got shut down because of COVID, and we're trying to get creative with how do we get into a classroom, how do we get in front of our influencers, and kind of break down the stereotype of being a military recruiter and making ourselves actually appear to be a valued resource within our communities. So I looked at LinkedIn as that opportunity then that we can have interaction with our educators, with our sports coaches, with faculty at different colleges. And most of them are going to have a LinkedIn profile. So it's going to open that door and allow us to then share content, maybe create interest, or at least make ourselves be a human and not a military recruiter. I'm actually just kind of curious on your thoughts of that use.
That's an excellent point. Excellent point. Because I highly recommend, and I'll do some searches, right? But when you post certain things, right, you could tag them. That'll definitely let them know you're a real person and you're human, right? So tag them. So that way they see your actual post. They could relate to certain things. They could personally get to know you and everything. So tag them, right? So one question for you, right? So what are one of the schools that that the squadron recruits for? Can you name one of the schools, whether it's a college or high school?
I'm gonna let Sergeant Tuttle answer that one because he's right there. We'll let him use
Okay.
one of his schools.
Okay.
All right, one more time. I was looking at an email. What was the question?
What's name one school that you recruit for, or like one of the priorities?
Marietta Mesa High School.
Did you say Maria?
Marietta is Murrieta. Mesa, Mesa.
Is that how you spell it?
Yes, sir.
Marietta? Okay. High school. Let's see. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go people. And what we're gonna do is current company, show results. And there it is. There's the principal. Steve Ellis. Do you know Steve Ellis by chance? Okay.
I've met with him.
Okay.
I think twice.
So there you go. You had the opportunity, or to connect with him and start tagging him on your post. Start tagging things that you think that would interest him, to gain that rapport and gain that connection. So if you're struggling with like certain schools or struggling to get into certain schools, fastest and best way to do it. Reach out to folks and connect with them, right? We even see some, like, I think teachers here. Isabel is a music teacher. So that's pretty much, sometimes we make fun of ourselves, my wife and I, right? Because we do a lot of talent hunting. This is how you stalk people. Professional stalking. There you go. This is professional stalking.
Professional stalking.
Yep. That's it. Yep. I mean, look at all these folks that you connect with. There's 40 people. 40 people. Some of them may not work at the school. Some of them may have like graduated, right? But according to this, I mean, there's some great folks that you connect with. Student athlete. Maybe he's still going to high school, a potential, recruit for the Air Force. There you go, right there. Head football coach. I don't know if you've connected with the head football coach yet for the high school. That's another thing that you could do. And that's actually how I started connecting with like certain companies, certain people, was through LinkedIn. I did the same thing. I basically did a search. That's how I connected certain companies. I basically targeted certain companies and stuff. And What I did also is, let me go here, right here. I'm going to go, I put do's and don'ts on how to send messages, because I had no clue how to send messages. I had to learn fast. When I started sending messages to folks, I'm like, here's my resume. What do I qualify for? I didn't realize there's like thousands and thousands of jobs for that specific company, right? Now that I'm on the other end, now I get those type of emails. I'm like, there's no way I could pinpoint what they qualify for, right? I'm like, here's our job site, check it out and let me know what you qualify for, or let me know what you're interested in, right? Because it's tough. It's tough to pinpoint what somebody's interested in or what they want to do, right? So I started being creative. I started doing my own homework. I started for jobs, for certain companies. And what I would do is I would physically copy the link for that job posting, paste it in my comment, and then I would physically copy and paste the basic qualifications into my message. And I would physically put how many years experience I have for each specific requirement, right? And I would ask, hey, because here's another thing. A lot of corporate companies, if you would get referred for a company and you get that job, the person that refers you would actually get a bonus. So the willingness for them to refer you is pretty high, right? But the main thing is make it easier for them, make it as easy as possible for them to refer you, right? So I would put my message would probably, it changes nonstop. I would say, hi, John. Hope you're doing well. Hope everything's well during these times. Are you open to referring me or connecting me with talent acquisitions team for whatever company, right? They're either saying no or yes. At the same time, I also have the actual job link that I want to apply for and the actual basic qualifications. And I'd show physically that I qualify, and along with my resume. So those are the things that you need to get referred. And now they don't have to do much work at all. All they got to do is either share your information in the talent acquisitions team, or they could click on the link, and sometimes the link will actually show you who the recruiter is, and they could physically refer you to the recruiter that's primary recruiter for that role. Easiest way to get referral is gonna be that way, right? And hold on, right here. So I got it right here. Here it goes, right here. Do's and don't messaging your recruiter. I wrote it back in November 2019. My wife was like, you got to share some of your stories because it's pretty funny, right? I didn't do my research. One of the companies that I interviewed for, I think it's my first year after retiring, or I can't remember when it was, but one of the companies reached out to me and they said, what do you know about this company, right? And I'll let you know who the company is. And I'm like, oh yeah, perfect. Yeah, I definitely know about this company. So I started talking about like different flavors of ices I like. I like the cocoa flavors. I like the cherry flavor. I pretty much like any type of flavors, right? And the reason why I said that is it was Frost. And I had no clue that Frost was a bank. No clue. I had no clue, right? So I can only imagine what the recruiter was thinking. She was probably like laughing, right? After I let him know all the flavors that I like, she was like, oh yeah, thanks for your time. And that was it. I'm like, oh, that was super fast. And I told my wife, she was like, how'd you do? I'm like, I don't know. It was a fast interview. It was easy. All she asked me was, what do I know about Frost? I told her about my favorite type of Frosties, right? And I didn't get a call. I didn't get an email. And now I know why, because I bombed the heck out of that interview. I didn't do my homework. So make sure you do your homework, because they might ask you, what do you know about the company, right? And what interests you about the company? Why are you looking to move with your current company for this whatever company, right? So make sure you do your research. And a great thing about LinkedIn is typically you'll know who's going to interview you, right? Typically you're going to know who's going to interview. Go on their LinkedIn profile, try to do some review, try to see where they're at, try to see what their experience is and background, right? Because I say my first interviews, I felt like I was being like interrogated. I felt like I was being investigated, right? The questions they were asking me, I was so uncomfortable. I'm like, man, this is so uncomfortable. I feel like I'm getting grilled right now, right? And then I started listening to my wife's interview. I'm like, how are you interviewing that way? It was like conversational. They were like laughing, right? I'm like, man, my interviews was all like always serious, right? And it's all about how you set the tone with the interview. So now if you do your research on the person that you're being interviewed, the interviewer, right, you'll know exactly where they live. You'll know exactly what their past roles are, and you'll know something about them. So now you create that initial rapport from the get-go, and it's helped me out, right, throughout the process. Once I started doing that, my interviews were like conversational, and I didn't feel like I was being investigated. My hands wasn't sweaty, right? I wasn't uncomfortable. It was like conversational because I had some info about them, and from the initial start, I had the opportunity to actually interact with them and create that rapport. And you can actually see what they post. You can see what they interact. You can see what they're passionate about also. So that's the quickest and fastest way to get to know who your interviewer is by checking their LinkedIn profile, checking out what their posts, you see what they're located at. And I'm pretty sure you could relate about something, whether, oh, I actually have a family member at so-and-so, whatever they're located. Oh, I actually know somebody that works at the current company or the past company, right? And I also ask them, what it is about the company that they enjoy most, right? So, and my recommendation when doing an interview is always have questions. Always have questions, no matter what. Always have questions, because at the end they'll always ask you, "Do you have any questions?" And I learned fast. My first interviews, I'm like, no, everything's good. I don't have any questions. Yeah, I didn't get a call. I didn't get an email, right? Because it shows that you're not interested. If you're not asking questions, then they look at it as, they're not really interested because they didn't ask any questions. So Google was my friend. I Googled like top 10 questions to ask an interviewer, right? But make sure during the first round, whatever question you ask, don't ask the same questions if there is a second round or a third round, right? Because all the interviewers talk. You want to ask the different questions. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much a quick breakdown on LinkedIn. If anybody has any questions, as a matter of fact, let me share my email address, because I had to lock my LinkedIn account as far as connection. You actually you got to have my LinkedIn, my email address now. So here's my email address. And if anybody is planning on doing like hiring a heroes, DoD skill bridge, and if you want to stay in like talent acquisitions, definitely let me know, because we are always bringing in DoD skill bridge fellows and also hiring our heroes fellows, and leadership for M&T Bank. They're fully bought in. They know what military recruiters talent, and they know what they bring to the table. And like I said, we've converted every single one. We have 100% success rate right now. So definitely feel free to reach out to me. That's my email address. If you are open to connecting, send me a connection request and just basically type in my email. Definitely grateful for this opportunity. Thank you, Chief, for inviting me. Always willing to changing my schedule to help in any way I can.
Hey, I appreciate it. And just had a question come in the chat asking about, will the recording be shared? We are going to share it. We're going to put it on the Squadron's YouTube page, as long as that's okay with you, Ray.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Hey, before we close out, are there any questions out there from the field?
Not a question. I just want to say this was super helpful. A bit scary. I think I might do 30 years because I don't know how well I'll do it catching on to all this stuff. But this was very, very helpful. And I definitely want to share it on the page. I'm gonna encourage folks to look at this later on. I like how it helps us both for us transitioning out, but then also in the recruiting that we're doing now. There's definitely opportunities here that we can be using LinkedIn to help us personally and professionally. So thank you so much, sir. I appreciate you taking the time to chat with us today.
No, thank you for that. And I just want to let everybody know that Air Force recruiting has been a game changer for myself and my family. I mean, my wife's a recruiter now, so she, throughout my years in Air Force recruiting, my wife attended events that I went to. My kids attended the events I went to. She listened and stuff. She caught on fast. And I always told her, when I was active duty in the Air Force, I was like, you would be an amazing recruiter. She's like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be a recruiter, right? Here she is. She's a recruiter, right? We're actually training my son right now also to become a recruiter, because he listens. He knows about the art recruiting and stuff. But it's been a great experience for me, and I'm always going to be truly grateful for Air Force recruiting. And it's a high need. Recruiters are a high need here in the civilian world, and for those folks that tell you that recruiters don't make much right after you get out, it's not true. It's false. It's false. It's definitely a great experience or a great opportunity for you to do in civilian, right? You could be a recruiter, a normal recruiter with no direct reports, making 6 digits for a fact. And it is hard right now. Everybody, whatever companies that's out there, they're searching for recruiters. They're definitely searching recruiters. And what I'll do is I plan on doing another recruiter workshop in the future, right? And I'll definitely send it over to you, Chief, right? So for those anybody that wants to be able to translate their skills as far as military recruiter and civilian, I pretty much break it down, right? And I'll also talk about like do's and don'ts, certain stuff that you could ask in the military, a lot of stuff we can't ask in civilian, right? To where we could get locked up or get in trouble, right? Because there's a lot of stuff we can't say in civilian world that we could ask all day long in military, like date of birth, if they're married, what their height, what their weight is. We can't ask that. We can't ask that in civilian world. And like I said, it's actually illegal and stuff. But there are certain things that I talk about during the workshop, the recruiting workshop, and it breaks down the stuff that I had to learn as far as the slides I share and the stuff I talk about. But yeah, no, really appreciate this time to share my experience and also share guidance and stuff. But yeah, if there's anything I could do in the future, feel free to reach out, Chief. Really appreciate everybody's time, and hopefully people took a photo and post it, and definitely tag me.
Absolutely. Thanks again, Ray. Thanks again for everybody else that took the time out of their day to join us today. Again, you heard Pro Soup even say it, a little bit of information that maybe you can use now, but most importantly, what you can use later on when you begin your transition out of the Air Force. But Ray, can't thank you enough, brother. Thank you so much.
Sounds good.
All right, y'all take care.